Greetings. This is Will from StormTheCastle.com, and you are watching the Sense of Wonder YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in. Let's go to the library and pick out a book today. It is installment 1 of a series of videos about my sojourn around America. I call it America the Beautiful. In 2018, I took a in 2018, I took a 6-month journey around America in my car, staying at motels and hotels in different places. I traveled 20,474 miles, and I saw, well, all of America. That's kind of a bold statement, all of America. You can never see all of America. It'd take more than one lifetime. But I visited all 48 continental states, and I visited a lot of the beautiful highlights that this country has to offer. Washington, D.C., New Orleans, Seattle, great museums, Detroit, Cincinnati, St. Louis. What else? Yellowstone National Park, the Redwood Forests, the Grand Canyon. I saw Mount Rushmore. Did I say Mount Rushmore? All these beautiful things that are in America. And in this episode of the podcast, or vlog, I'm going to tell you the story of why and how it all happened. And I'm going to I have it all on video, have dash cam and video footages and a long series of videos about America and my trip around the country that I will slowly reveal to you over time. And we'll talk about life, America, the various things, and my experiences, the things I saw and the things I did. But in this episode here, the first one of the travel series, I'm going to talk about why I did it. It all started in 1975. I was 14 years old. And on a lark, for either a Christmas or a birthday present, I think it was one of my Christmas presents I received, was a large, hardcover Rand McNally Atlas of America. It was a book, a big book, oversized, hardcover, and inside it was all about maps and facts and information about America. It had maps of the country as a whole, had maps of every state in various colors, and all kinds of interesting information about what the major cities, the major crops, the major industries, and all these different things. And I was totally captured by that book. I spent a lot of time, and back then there was no GPS. I spent a lot, and you would use the scale on the map, like an inch would be 300 miles or whatever, and I spent a lot of time measuring things out with a ruler, seeing how long it would take me to drive from city to city or state to state, looking over all the various monuments and the famous things in all the various states, and I was just totally enraptured. And I made the vow to myself that someday when I was an adult, because I was only a kid, that I would do it. I would take that drive and see all of America. Well, I was just a kid, right? But fast forward 10 years later. Now I'm a young adult in my 20s. I got a family. And I kind of had forgotten all about that book and that goal. But a movie came out, I think it was 85. It's about 10 years later. And the movie, now, unless you're an old timer, you won't remember this movie, but the movie was called Mask. And it starred Cher and Eric Stoltz. And Eric Stoltz had this affliction, this disease where his face was all disfigured by fluid. I think he won an Academy Award, but in the movie, here's the interesting thing. Eric Stoltz they always told him he wasn't going to live, and he lived, continued past into his teen years where they all said he should never live that long. But here's what struck me. Whenever anybody asked him, and this is based on a true story, the guy's name was, what was his name? Rocky was his name, the young man, Eric Stoltz. So whenever anybody asked him, why are you living? Why are you living? Why do you keep going? What is it? What keeps it going? He would take them in his bedroom and show them a map of Europe. And he said, because someday I'm going to get a motorcycle and I'm going to see all these beautiful sights in Europe. So he had this map on his bedroom wall of all the main things in Europe. And that really, really struck me because it made me think of my road atlas of America. And I had the same kind of vision. Wow, someday I want to see all of America. And I had previously, as a traveler, seen quite a bit of the world. I'd done a lot of international travel, but I'd always put off America. Well, at that point, I hadn't seen much of the world in my 20s. Since then I have, but... So it got me... the movie ends where he dies. Eric Stoltz, Rocky, he passes away. And if I remember correctly, the movie ends on a slow pan to that map of Europe on his bedroom wall. So he never got to fulfill that dream. And that really struck me. Because for me, it was like, wow, it's been 10 years. Where did those 10 years go? I had that vision and that dream to see America. And I never did it. So that really, really, really affected me deeply. Well, fast forward a couple of decades later, and I still hadn't seen America. Now this is when I'd done a lot of travel, seen a fair amount of the world, and we'll cover some of that stuff, and I'll tell you some of my insights and thoughts about the world, and I'll show you pictures and videos. But this series is America. But I said I was starting to get older, and I was like, geez, I'm if I don't do this soon, I may end up like Rocky, and I'll never get it done. Life has changed a lot. I've done and seen a lot of things, but I'm not as young as I used to be. My health is starting to show its frailty, and I better get it done. So finally, in 2017, I started making plans to do it. And in 2018, I did it. I had everything all figured out, and then I set off on my big adventure to see all of America from coast to coast and top to bottom, and that's what I did. It's like I said, 20,474 miles. Most of the major things in America, Niagara Falls, you name it. New York City, Hollywood, the Redwood Forests, all these beautiful, beautiful things, the Garden of the Gods that America has to offer. I also visited a lot of blacksmiths. I saw a lot of museums. I visited, I think, somewhere around, I couldn't tell you, I'd have to give you a number, 50 castles. There are a lot of castles in America. And so this is episode 1 of that series of Seeing America. And I'll show you videos and pictures, and we'll talk about it. But I wanted to reinforce something to you. If you have a dream, a quest, something in the back of your mind that's nagging at you that you want to do, experience, make it a reality. Time shifts quickly. It accelerates as you get older. Time accelerates. The days are shorter, the weeks are shorter, the months are shorter, the years are shorter and come faster. And consider somehow making it happen. There are negatives, there are going to be obstacles to overcome, but you know what? So what? I always said to myself, this little truism, I think, about there are 2 kinds of people, right? There are people, and the world needs both kinds of people, but there are people that get a job, stay in the job for 40 years, buy a house, stay in that house for 30 years, raise their families, are very stalwart and stoic and stable, and build community, and that's wonderful. And then there is another type of person that adventures out and tries new things and goes to new places and expands their horizons and takes risks, and the world needs that kind of person too. And it's beautiful. But you don't have to particularly stay one kind of person. I was the previous kind of person for 30 years, a homeowner, a landlord, worked in a company. For many, many years, did that, and then come to a point where the children were grown and I was on my own, and I flipped into the other type of person to catch up on some of the things I wanted to catch up on. So consider that. You don't have to stay one type of person. Now, let's talk about you and travel. The world is getting really, really crazy. I'm hearing things now about travel restrictions. It's going to be much more difficult to travel. You're going to have biometric IDs and the shots you got to have, and travel is getting trickier, and the governments may be enforcing tougher rules on travel. It may get to the point where travel is going to be a very difficult thing. And I don't mean to scare you with that, but if you want to travel, make it happen. Start something today. Get a book. Write out a little plan. What do you want to do? What kind of travel do you want to do? Where do you want to go? I'll end this all episode with something that next year, April or May, I'll embark on the adventure in April or May. I am going to walk the Camino. It is a 500-mile pilgrimage in Spain. The one I'm walking starts in France, and it's officially called Santiago de Compostela, if you want to look it up. It's been going on for 1,000 years, and I'm excited about it, making my plans, making arrangements, gathering up the resources, but money is definitely a thing for me. I live a very simple life, and I could use your support to help me in a way you can travel along with me. I'll be podcasting and vidcasting from the road while I'm there, and I'll be making a paper scroll that I'll take with me as an offering of prayer, and you can get on that scroll. So I continue forward with my dreams of seeing the world and adventuring and traveling, and I'm enjoying the heck out of it. There's always a way to make it happen. So that's my task to you. If you want to travel, you always have this dream of something, whatever it may be for you, start making it happen today. Even if it's just writing it out. Don't write it on the computer. Write it out on paper. Get a pencil or a pen and paper and write some things out, because this is one of the ways that you can start to make a dream, a pipe dream or a thought into a reality. Once you write it down, it starts to become more real. So that's it. This is episode 1 of my quest to see America. We'll have a whole bunch of stuff about this. You're going to really love it. All the various things I went and saw, and the various people I met, and the food and the museums and all that.